Good evening. Welcome to the December 9th, 2013 Valley View School Board meeting. We have a full crowd here tonight. A lot of Honor Society parents and others getting awards. Reminder, after the award ceremonies are gone, there's no sense in sticking around. Kids have school and what have you tomorrow. It's a cold night. We recognize that. Thank you all for coming. It's 9 degrees with a 0-degree wind chill, so we get all that up here too. Where are we at?
Pledge.
Board, Pledge of Allegiance. Liz, would you please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Member Hanson, board affirmation statement, please.
Our mission is to ensure that all students are prepared for college and a successful life, academically, socially, and emotionally, as well as equipped with the necessary tools to have options and make decisions about their long-term goals. This will be accomplished by believing and working towards all students learning through rigorous curricula and meaningful, effective instruction, consequently demonstrating mastery on high-quality assessments with all stakeholders being held accountable throughout the process.
Dr. Mitchum, agenda.
Mr. President, I'd like to ask the board to approve the agenda as presented.
Motion to approve the agenda would be in order.
So move.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. Roll call vote, please.
Member Campbell,
Yes.
Member Sikora,
Yes.
Member Felice,
Yes.
Secretary Hansen,
Yes?
Vice President Gugis,
Yes.
President Quigley.
Yes. Treasurer's report, Mr. Grisafi.
Yes, Treasurer's report for November of 2013 includes your financial reports, balance sheet, summary of revenue and expenditures, as well as the interim obligation payments totaling $3,820,488.71, along with the debt service payment totaling $20,250,668.75. That represents about 89% of our debt due for the year. The remaining $2.5 million will be paid in April. Need approval on that as presented.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion seconded. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Member Campbell,
Yes.
Member Sikora,
Yes.
Member Felice,
Yes.
Secretary Hansen,
Yes?
Vice President Gugis.
Yes.
President Quigley.
Yes. Scheduled bills.
Scheduled bill is presented for your consideration and approval this evening, totaling $2,578,796.32.
Motion to approve.
So move.
Second.
Motion seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. Roll call vote, please.
Member Campbell,
Yes.
Member Sikora,
Yes.
Member Felice,
Yes.
Secretary Hansen,
Yes?
Vice President Gugis,
Yes.
President Quigley.
Yes.
Summary of investments, property taxes received, a state funding update, and the school trust activity accounts are included for your information. If you have any questions, be happy to answer them at this time.
Any discussions on summary of investments? Next. Gary?
That's everything.
Oh, you want to do school funding update? We're still $4 million?
I can. $4 million in arrears. That represents about 2 months that we're behind. The concern there was that if that carried forward in another month ahead, we would lose the ability to book a fourth payment should it be received in August per our auditors. And so we would end the year with one payment short, thus an IOU from the state to the tune of $4 million. So we would revert back to the 2012 school year, where we were again left with an IOU. In that case, it was $8 million. They did catch up last year, but again, we're back to the being left with an IOU, if you will, for the FY14.
I had lunch with State Treasurer Judy Bart Topinka about a week ago. She indicated the state is approximately 90 days to 120 days behind. Is that about?
This represents 60 days. 90 days puts us again beyond that August ability to book,
Okay.
the end of our fiscal year. And so 120 definitely leaves us with an IOU at the end of our fiscal year.
Okay, so under 60 we're okay, over 90 we're not good?
Correct.
Got it, okay. Thank you. Consent agenda, Dr. Mitchum.
Yes, Mr. President, I'd like to ask the board to approve consent agenda items 6-1 through 6-5. 6-1, board meeting minutes, November 25th, 2013. 6-2, executive session meeting minutes, November 25th, 2013. 6-3, student activity contract, Jonas Salk Elementary School and the Interstate Studio. 6-4 trips for Humphrey Middle School and Bolingbrook High School, and 6-5 gifts for R.C. Hill Elementary School.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. Roll call vote, please.
Member Campbell,
Yes.
Member Sikora,
Yes.
Member Felice,
Yes.
Secretary Hansen,
Yes.
Vice President Gugis,
Yes.
President Quigley.
Yes. And now, the moment we're all waiting for. Pillars of Valley View and football all-state athletes and BHS state scholars. That'll all be one, then the next, then the next. Pillars of Valley View. First up is Member Gugis and R.C. Hill.
You're already crying. Good evening, members of the board and Dr. Mitchum. It is my pleasure to introduce R.C. Hill's Pillar of Valley View, Lynette Parkarski. Lynette is the librarian at R.C. Hill. However, she has been at R.C. Hill for 33 years, which is very unusual in education these days. Throughout her career, Lynette has held many different positions in Valley View. She has been the librarian since 2000. Lynette is one of the most dedicated, caring individuals at R.C. Hill. She is student-centered and goes above and beyond for both the students and the staff. When the students go to the library each week, Lynette provides engaging literacy activities that enhance the curriculum. She uses every minute of library time to help our students grow as readers and learners. She also provides countless resources to the teachers that ultimately benefit our students. Lynette gives back to the school in numerous ways. To name just a few, she leads our annual Bedtime Stories event, organizes and runs several book fairs, a book swap for the students, serves on our Best Friends Foundations Club, and assists with after-school events. Lynette always has a friendly smile and a warm greeting for students and staff. This is Lynette's last year in Valley View School District, as she is retiring at the end of the school year. We truly are losing a valuable asset to the school and district, but know she will always be there for the staff and students at R.C. Hill.
Next, Member Sikora and Brooks Middle School.
Good evening to the members of the Board of Education, President Quigley, senior leadership, Dr. Mitchum, and members of the Valley View School District community. My assistant principal, Christina Sylvester, and I are proud to present to you the Brooks Middle School nominee for the Pillar of Valley View, Mr. Tom Kidwell, our family and consumer science teacher. Reflective, humble, and committed are just a few words that come to mind when describing our Pillar of Valley View recipient for Brooks Middle School, Mr. Thomas Kidwell. One would be hard-pressed to find an area of the school that Tom has not had some level of influence or involvement in over his time here at Brooks. As a family and consumer science teacher, he has provided over 10 years of service and support to students to help them plan for the future. Mr. Kidwell is a key feature of our school community who provides service in and outside of his classroom. Not only can you find him in his room instructing his students in the finer aspects of child care or the culinary arts, you can also find him coaching a successful baseball team, sponsoring our Facts Club, or using his golden voice and expert delivery as an announcer at many of our sporting events. Mr. Kidwell can always be found in the hallway monitoring student behavior or at one of our socials producing some of the finest popcorn and snow cones this side of town. As a Facts key leader and member of our Universal Leadership Team and Key Leader Team, Tom is invested in school improvement and does not hesitate to make recommendations that lead to positive school and student outcomes. Additionally, Tom has played a major role in promoting a positive school climate as a co-sponsor of our core value team and as a sponsor of numerous staff-led treat days. It is an honor to know and work with Tom, and he is well deserving of this recognition as a Pillar of Valley View. Congratulations, Mr. Thomas Kidwell.
Plus, he's wearing a festive bow tie. Next, we have football All-State Honors members. First up, Anthony Love from RHS. Coach, if you would.
Good evening, school board, senior leadership. Tonight I'd like to honor one of our student athletes from Romeoville High School, Mr. Anthony Love. Anthony is a 3-year varsity player for us. During his sophomore year, he impressed us a lot. He moved up. It really did a great job for us as a young man playing at a high level as a sophomore. He proceeded and grown and developed over the next 2 years. After his junior campaign, he earned all conference honors for the Southwest Prairie. During his senior year, he earned 3 scholarship offers from Eastern Illinois University, South Dakota University, North Dakota University. During the course of the season, he racked up 80 tackles, 7.5 sacks, 22 tackles for loss. He was also named All-Conference again and Conference MVP for the Southwest Prairie. Along with that recognition, he was named All-Area First Team by the Joliet Herald News. And over state championship weekend at the Class 6A game, he was awarded with a plaque as being All-State First Team for Class 6A by the Illinois High School Football Coaches Association. Probably the most important thing that Anthony did for us, though, our program has been in a rebuilding stage, and for the first time since 2002, we were able to qualify for the state playoff series, and a lot of that had to do with the fact of Anthony and the rest of the senior class and things that they did for us over their careers. So I'd like to congratulate Anthony and present him with both certificate from the Valley View School District and with his All-State plaque.
I'm just saying Eastern Illinois is ranked number 2 in the country right now, if you're so inclined. And you can watch them on ESPN on Friday night. Just saying again, ESPNU. You don't want to go to North Dakota. It's too cold up there. For those of us who attended Eastern Illinois, we called it the Harvard of the Midwest.
Good evening, members of the board, senior leadership, Dr. Mitchum, and members of the community. My name is Rob, Assistant Principal for Athletics and Activities at Bolingbrook High School. I have the honor of being here tonight to recognize 2 of our outstanding student athletes, Jaden Huff and Parker Westfall, for their selection as All-State football players. Before I introduce our head football coach, John Ivelo, it's important to note that the likes of a Jaden Huff and a Parker Westfall don't come around every year or every 10 years. Both are special players. In addition to being great football players, though, they are both even better students and young men. As an alumnus of both Bolingbrook High School and the Raider football program, I take great pride knowing that both Jaden and Parker have represented and will continue to represent Bolingbrook High School, the Raider football program, in a positive and productive manner. With that said, I'd like to introduce our head football coach, John Ivelo.
Thank you very much, everyone. Good evening. And Rob said a lot of the things that I probably would have said off the top of my head, but I've just been chosen to talk about their athletic abilities. So with that, I'm going to start with Parker Westfall. Parker's been a 3-year starter for us, a member of our 2011 state championship team. He is currently entertaining the likes of Vanderbilt and Northwestern University, and Parker will be a midterm grad. He will be he will be graduating in December. And we think we've only had 3 kids in the history of Bolingbrook High School athletically that have done that. So that's one of Parker's big achievements. So congratulations, Parker. Mr. Huff, 4-year starter for us. Like Rob said, it's going to be hard to replace these 2 guys. Lucky he's got twin brothers that are in the program, a year younger than him, so that'll definitely help. And Jaden is going to be another midterm grad, so that'll be number 4. And he is entertaining the likes of the Air Force Academy, who's going to be making a home visit with him this week. So we just got to get him a haircut and a razor before then. He should be good to go. Other than that, though, these guys, again, I can't say enough about these young men for what they've accomplished on the field and in the classroom. And just the fact, to graduate early, there was some summer school involved. So these kids took it very seriously to get their academics and get their coursework out of the way so they could put themselves in this position. And Mr. Love congratulates you on your award. We played against him, and I am glad you're a senior too as well. So, thank you, everyone.
If you guys change your mind and want to go to Eastern, I can make a phone call for you. Are we to take that you're wearing purple, so you're going to go to Northwestern, Mr. Westfall? It's a close. Your mom and dad will get to see you play. Next up, we have Illinois State Scholars, A through Z. How about that? Mr. White, if you would please.
Good evening, Board of Education, senior leadership, and community members. It is my pleasure to introduce to you Bolingbrook High School Illinois State Scholars. The Illinois State Scholar Program recognizes students for outstanding academic achievement. The State Scholar designation provides honorary recognition with no monetary awards to the top 10% of the students that are academic in Illinois. Bolingbrook High School will be recognizing 60 of its 71 state scholars tonight. Scholars, please move forward as you have to be recognized. Miss, can you come forward, please, so we can get them lined up? Thank you. So I want to introduce you to them. Again, these students have worked extremely hard. They too are your all-state academic students, in my opinion, because again, this is what academics is, what it's all about. So I'm pretty excited tonight to introduce these 60 students to you. The first student that we have is Halima Ahmed. You're going to stand across over there, dear. Do you want to just take them and get them lined up over there? Yeah. Angelica Elba, Jonathan Bartolome. No. Yeah, you're going to line them up over there? Okay. Ashwin Bashwani, John Brickett, Andrew Kate, Gina Cerulli, Jonathan Colliard, Emily Coronado, Paul Crafton, Miranda Crawley, Jerome Davis, Jillian Davis, Christine Diaz, Trevor Goldman, Veronica Gomez, Colin Gorski, Sokye Gumanyala, Kimberly Guzzi, Caitlin Hedinger, Elizabeth Jimenez, Justin Jones, Benjamin Junkrowski, Kevin Kruger, Matt Lathrop, Daniel Lopez, Olivia Manzella, Naomi Mitz, Courtney Morrison, Asfink Nazeeb, Jillian O'Donnell, Brian Perro, Chase Perry, Keith Perry, Stephen Rosenthal, Tara Sanson Levin, Tiffany Santana, Robert Schauner, Rachel Schneider, Jonathan Slowick, Brianne Smith, Malcolm Smith, Marcus Smith, William Staub, Sarah Tome, Christine Tregars. Jonathan Vavrina. Louise Vadanas. Nora Villegas. Rachel Wink. Jonathan Worlton. Michael Yep. And John Zielinski. Let's give them a round of applause, please. These are Bolingbrook High School's
Have the girls go to the front. You guys are too tall. Move up there. Come on, guys. Part the seat.
first row. You're going up front so you can take a picture in a.
There you go. There you go.
While they're taking pictures, it is a process that the state used that on the ACT, SAT, or the PSAE. These students have to score within the 95th percentile. They also have to make sure that they're in the top half of their class. That's the process for them to get their name sent to the state. From that, then it becomes a process or a formula that their names will go into for that to fit. But all said and done, this is the top 10% of the academic students in Illinois that you are watching today.
There you go. Now you're in the front row. Yeah. Yeah, you guys always get to go first. Now that's backwards, yeah. That guy Z, I mean Zielinski, come on. His whole life he had to sit at the very end of the last row. He'll be the last guy to get his diploma. Think about that. There you go. Where? Eastern Illinois? You say Eastern? No, he's going to a much better school than Eastern. Madison, it's cold up there too.
While they're taking their pictures again, it's been a definite pleasure to move through the hallways and in classrooms and see these students hard at work. They're very, very special young men and women, and we're extremely proud as an administrative team over at Bolingbrook High School for these students. Thank you very much. One more round of applause for our Illinois State Scouts.
Thank you, students. Thank you, Mr. White. Drive safe. Stay warm. As the room clears out, we'll give it a minute here. For those of you who wonder, yes, I'm a Bears fan, but I'm also wearing the orange shirt tonight for the Lions Club fundraiser being held tonight at Tailgaters on behalf of the tornado victims of Coal City and Diamond, Illinois. Thus the Bears sweatshirt. Yeah. Should have my EIU shirt on. Eastern Illinois, Harvard of the Midwest. Mm-hmm. They're number 2, bub. Number 2. That's all you need to know. Number 2 is like second. Jimmy Garoppolo should be in the. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Come on, man. The best quarterback in the country sitting right there. Okay, let's move down the agenda. Any liaison reports? Any and all, please. None. Oh,
Wilco has no meeting in December. We'll be meeting again up in January.
Thank you. Ms. Hanson, you look like you wanted to say something? No? As you know, probably through the papers, the media, what have you, the Illinois General Assembly passed the what they call the pension fix for 4 of the major pensions that the state oversees. Included in that is TRS, Teachers Retirement System. Some of our local representatives voted for it. Some of our local representatives voted against it. The numbers, whether it will save the state $130 billion or $90 billion or $160 billion, still remains to be seen. The constitutionality of the actual pension for the current pensioners remains to be seen, and that will be challenged by the Supreme Court, or in the Supreme Court, so we will see where that goes. I don't expect any decision to come from that, from the court for at least a year by the time the complainants file their appropriate challenges to the law and so on and so forth. But there has been some movement on the pension front. The state of Illinois' bond rating should probably improve, which will help our bond rating at some point should we need to go to the bond market. That is that for that, and I'm sure you'll see more on that in the news and so on and so forth in the future. Audience participation. Anybody who wishes to address the board this evening, please step forward and state your name.
Good evening. My name is Suzanne Hurdle, and I'm a parent of a student at one of the Romeoville middle schools. And I have 3 things tonight. First of all, I wanted to ask questions about the calendar because I know that's coming up tonight. And I have the distinct feeling that it's going to go through without any anyway, I think it's going to go through. And I have the survey results and noticed that one of the comments that has the largest number of respondents, both from parents, guardians, students, and staff, is that it is starting too early. And I agree with that. I did notice, and I looked at the various school districts in our area. I see that they start early as well. I'm sure that played into it, but I have great concerns about that. Last year, I think it was a response to the superintendent, but I can't remember. Anyway, and I also responded to this survey with several questions. And another one that I have is I don't understand why we have Good Friday off. It's a religious holiday, and I don't think it should be taken off because it's a religious holiday. I think if you're going to have that off, you should have either all or nothing. All religious holidays off or no religious holidays off. I know that probably sounds odd coming from me because some of you know what I do, but I feel very strongly about that. Also, I wanted to ask if there's a policy in the district on response time for emails from parents. I sent an email over 1 week ago regarding something with my son, and as of coming to the meeting tonight, have received no response, and I think that's unacceptable. And I forwarded it to several email addresses beyond mine to ensure it wasn't just not going out from mine, because that could have happened. And then lastly, something I need to speak to Mr. Brown about as well. In the school dress code, there is nothing in the school dress code regarding weapons, wearing of clothing with weapons, or symbols or things like that. I'm bringing this on behalf of my son, who is in 8th grade, and asked for his father and I to pursue this with him. So that's what, or pursue this for him. So to honor what he asked me to do, I'm doing that. This summer, while we were vacationing in New York City, as we do each year, our son purchased a piece of artwork that is a necklace, and it is a repurposed bullet that this artist takes bullets and other weapons and repurposes them for various things. On the way home from New York, I uploaded the entire handbook for Luke Hansik onto my little phone, and on the way back, I read the entire handbook, and as there was nothing in the dress code regarding it, we allowed him to wear it to school. He was then told by one of the staff members at the school that he could not wear it. We were in conversation with that person, and we're told that the dress code is up to interpretation by this individual staff members, which I think is a bit concerning. We shared with her that we felt there were other things that could also be taken in a threatening way. That was the impression that was given about this bullet necklace, which if you saw it, you wouldn't think it was threatening. But anyway, and so I just think there needs to be some clarification on that, and it would be my strong recommendation that perhaps, even though my son will be disappointed, that maybe that needs to be included in the reworking of the handbook to include that weapons or symbols of weapons or pictures of weapons or, you know, whatever the case may be. I don't know how you word that, and I'm sure somebody, including the lawyer, can help with that. But I really felt that it was unfair to my son because we specifically did look in the handbook and there was nothing in there. And I think what was more upsetting to me was the fact that it was a teachable moment. And had the person asked him why he bought it, and he bought it with his own money, had they asked him why he bought it, he would have shared exactly what the artist told him. And they still might have said he couldn't wear it, which is fine, but I thought it was a missed moment, and we did share that with the staff. So those are my 3 things, and thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Ms. Suzanne, I know what I want to call you.
Mrs. Suzette, Pastor
I
Suzette.
will call her Mrs. Hurdle. There was a lot of discussion at the last board meeting about the calendar. We'll probably talk about it some more tonight. I think some of us had issue with the early start time, some did not. I think that we put it out. I know there was a parent link we put out to get lots of feedback on that. And I think we're going to talk tonight a little bit about what the feedback we got was from the parents. But we did have quite a bit of discussion last meeting about the calendar, in particular the start of the school year. As far as other issues, I think that you should get a reasonable response, and I hope you'll take that up with whoever here. And you're probably right. The handbook, if wearing bullets isn't in the handbook, then we probably need to update the handbook to say wearing bullets is a problem.
Moving down the agenda, action reports. Dr. Mitchum.
Yes, Mr. President, I'd ask that the Board of Education approve student due process cases A through J as presented.
Motion?
So moved.
Second? Second. Motion and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. Roll call vote, please.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Sikora?
Yes.
Member Felice?
Yes.
Secretary Hansen?
Yes.
Vice President Gugis?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes.
Good evening, President Quigley. Action Report 11.1 is bringing forth a draft calendar for the 2014-2015 school year that is being recommended by the Calendar Committee for approval and adoption. As I mentioned previously, on November 12th, when I brought this forth for information, the Calendar Committee consisted of certified and classified staff members from all grade levels, along with union representation, a Board of Education representative, and parent representatives. We took into consideration state guidelines, required legal holidays, election days, collective bargaining language, as well as input received from various internal and external stakeholders. To create a calendar that was conducive as possible to providing students with quality instructional time. Upon presenting it to the board on November 12th for information, it was posted online and available to the community to review and provide input. We have provided a summary of feedback, and a detailed list of those summary of responses was provided to the board. To the public, we have summarized the trends that came through in that feedback, so that is available for your consideration and the approval of this calendar. We have also provided a document of frequently asked questions that is being provided as a reference. If changes are desired by the Board of Education based on the feedback that is received, the Calendar Committee would reconvene to recreate a second draft calendar to bring forward for review before seeking approval. I would like to note we did take into consideration calendars of our neighboring districts and districts in the area, and we did receive feedback from parents and community members from all levels, particularly elementary and middle level, about the early start to the school year. And so that was one trend that was noted. And so that is all being presented for your review this evening.
Thank you. With that, a motion would be in order to approve the calendar as presented. For lack of a motion?
So moved.
Need a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Is there any discussion on the calendar?
Sure. I think I was on record last time saying I think that it starts too early. That doesn't mean that there hasn't been lots of hard work put on the calendar, lots of planning. I just think that August, help me, 12th? 13th date is extremely early. I appreciate that I asked if we could put this out to the community, and I would just note that we had 160 parents say they thought it started too early. We had 66 parents that thought it was good. Member Sikora, you'll probably be really keenly interested in this. We had 117 staff members that said it started too early versus 20 that said they thought it was good. It looks more than 3 to 1 on the people that did respond to the survey that they think it starts too soon. I think that while I know on the back end it would be difficult, I think the idea of not having the first semester be as many days, have the 2 semesters be an equal amount of days, is a potential solution to not having the school year start so early, but at the same time having the semester break at Christmas. But I do realize the issues that would be, particularly for the upper levels in terms of curriculum. But those are my thoughts on the calendar.
Any other discussion? I don't disagree with the early start date. I understand there's reasons for it, and there's reasons around trying to get out in June and so on and so forth. Nobody's against the June, going that first week of school in June, I don't think. It looks like we're going to have a winter that possibly is going to extend our school year anyway this year. And I forget what the dismissal date for this year is, but we may miss a few extra days of spring break. I don't know how you get around that. I'm not sure how I'm going to vote, but that said, we have a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, roll call vote, please.
Member Campbell?
No.
Member Sikora?
Yes.
Member Felice?
Yes.
Secretary Hansen?
Yes.
Vice President Gugis?
No.
President Quigley?
No. Vote having received 3 yeses and 3 nos. Fails. We'll go back to the committee and tweak this a little bit and see if we can come up with something better. Moving down the agenda. Resolution, tax levy. Gary?
Yes, we've got a resolution 1470 to adopt the 2013 tax levy. The levy, in the case of the property tax limitation law, will be capped at 1.7%, which is the consumer price index for 2013, actually for 2012. The levy is a balloon levy. We are requesting $136,240,000 in operating funds, which is 4.9% greater than last year's actual extension. When you factor in debt service, which is $24,353,000, our total request comes in at $160,593,000, where we most likely will receive $156 million or $4 million less than we're asking for. By requesting the higher extension, the board will reserve the right to reallocate and or lower but not increase the levy in the future until as late as March, which will allow it to be much more accurate due to the actual equalized assessed value of property as well as the new property values being finalized on or before April 1st of 2014. There's been no change in the levy since it was presented to you in the first meeting in November. One side note is that we are pursuing what's known as a deficiency levy to explore recapture of the Adventist refund that we were subject to last year, and it will be a subject to take up with our finance committee here in the near future. We are exploring that with our bond counsel. So at this time, I am recommending the resolution to adopt the 2013 tax levy be approved as presented.
So moved.
Motion? Oops, wait.
Second.
Motion and second. Is there any discussion?
It's just pointing out to President Quigley, on the left-hand side, it says the 2103 tax levy. That would just be a typo. We've got it right everywhere else. You probably don't see it on that paper, but on the agenda, yeah.
We don't want to be here in 2103.
Just make sure we're approving the right year.
The resolution on the actual form's proper date. But
correct.
Just typo. We have a motion. We have a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Sikora?
Yes.
Member Felice?
Yes.
Secretary Hansen?
Yes.
Vice President Gugis?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes.
The district in 2012-13 exercised a first extension with Orkin Pest Control of Naperville to basically provide pest control throughout the district, even though we added 35,000 square feet with our all-day kindergarten additions. At that time, they agreed to keep the price the same, and they have agreed to do that again as well with our second and last extension for 2014-15. And so we are recommending that we take advantage of that offer by recommending the renewal of the contract for district-wide pest control with Orkin for a final year extension in the amount of $15,539.52.
Motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion on pest control contract? Hearing none, seeing none. Roll call vote, please.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Sikora?
Yes.
Member Felice?
Yes.
Secretary Hansen?
Yes.
Vice President Gugis?
Yes.
President Quigley.
Yes. Next up.
Final action is to approve the purchase of two 2014 Ford F-250 4x4 pickup trucks with plow kits from Curry Motors in the amount of $34,260 each for a total price of $68,536. We did receive 5 bids. Curry was the low bidder. They will be replacing two 1997 F-250 4x4s and 4x2s that are located, currently being used within the district.
Motion?
So moved.
Motion and second. First and second. Any discussion?
Yeah, real quick. Are both of these getting plows?
They are.
So, why do we need 2 trucks that can do plows when right now we just have 1 truck that can?
The one truck that we're replacing is currently, the 97 is at Romeoville High. That does not have a plow, and so by allowing them to have a plow, we can incorporate them into our fleet when we do plow. It'll allow them a little better flexibility, if you will, also to plow the school on their own without having district personnel.
Does it not get plowed well now?
It does, but it allows their staff to plow it, whereas now they have a 4x2 without a plow, and it basically cannot plow. So we're going to redeploy a district vehicle, 4x4, that has a plow to Romeoville High, and the 2 new trucks will go into the district fleet.
Those came through the state purchasing. That's why it's Curry Motors. That's the one that usually is the deal. Curry Motors, the state. Regional Suburban. Yeah, thank you.
All right, so we're going to take.
Romeoville High has a 4x2 without a plow.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to redeploy a current, I think it's a 99 district plow to Romeoville High to allow them access to ability to plow their school in addition to what we provide. And then the 2 2014s will go into the district fleet that plow the entire district.
So we're replacing 2 trucks with 2 better trucks, each one.
2 newer trucks.
Yeah, each one better than what we currently have.
Correct.
And we're adding an additional plow, but we're happy right now with what we do with our plow. So I guess I'm confused on why we're spending money on an additional truck with a plow when we don't present a deficit with our current plowing ability.
Mike, you want to come up and speak to that?
I mean, money's tight. That's.
I think this is, I think a couple months ago, we talked about long-term planning as far as plowing throughout the district, including Bolingbrook High School, bringing that in-house as well. Right now, Bolingbrook High School is the only site that we contract out that service, and in order to bring that in-house, what we're trying to do is to create a more efficient plowing crew and fleet, and what that means is adding another plow truck to our crew and our fleet.
But we're not doing that this year, correct?
No, this is the steps that we're taking
So
to do that.
why are we buying the truck this year if we're not going to plow Bolingbrook High School this year?
The truck itself is something that we need. We do need a new vehicle. Both these vehicles are pretty much going through a lot of maintenance, a lot of cost currently to maintain them both, a lot of repairs. They're both about 16, 17 years old, so they've had quite a bit of use in the district. And so this is, again, a step to allow us to better utilize our fleet and to increase by 1 plow truck our crew. It makes plowing more efficient. Just to give you an example, even just last night with the snows, we had our crew out at midnight to plow what amounts to 19 sites in the district. And so having those bodies there allows us to create some efficiencies. You know, maybe instead of being called out at midnight, they can come out a little bit earlier in the day and make just the whole efficiency of all of our sites.
Yeah, I don't doubt that, we'll be more efficient at plowing snow. I just guess that at some point, we limit the amount of paper that people can use. We limit, at some point, I think we need this for our future snowplow fleet if we do bring Bolingbrook High School in-house. But we haven't brought Bolingbrook High School in-house yet. This year, we outsourced it. So we're getting a truck that will help us do that, but we're not doing it currently, is kind of my problem. Like, is there an issue we can't buy it next year if we actually do bring, if that actually happens? So those are some of my concerns, because we are tight on money, and I'm not understanding why we're adding a plow truck at this time.
Mike, is it fair to say that we're replacing 2 plows with 2 plows?
Replacing. No, we'll actually add a plow to the fleet.
That's what this says.
Right.
Because the one truck isn't used as a plow currently.
Correct.
You're at the plow.
So we're gonna add a plow.
Right.
Is the question the trucks or the plow? So we're replacing trucks with trucks, and one of those trucks is going to now have a plow.
Correct, because one of the trucks that we're ultimately pulling out of our fleet can't plow right now. It's a 4x2. It's not capable of plowing.
All right, so seeing these vehicles firsthand and can speak and congratulate your staff on how well maintained they are to be able to keep something for 16 years and the amount of use that they have. What's the cost differential between a truck and a truck with a plow?
The plow is going to cost us somewhere between $5,000 and $6,000.
Isn't there additional cost because we have to have a truck that is able to do the plowing? So we can't have like a 4x2 like what we have right now, because that can't do the plowing. So we could buy a less expensive truck if we didn't need it to plow.
Correct. I mean, the difference between a 4x2 and a 4x4 is probably a couple $1,000s.
What I'm seeing here on the report was that the 2 or lower trucks, though, are the ones you're putting the plows on, according to what I'm looking here. The 29 and 28,000 are the ones coming in with a plow.
The new ones will have new plows.
Yes, so
correct.
you are putting those plows on the least expensive
Well,
truck.
this is just a bid, so these are all for
Yeah.
the same truck. That's just the lowest bid, is the 28.9. So they would get both at 28.978
yeah.
price. My point would be, if we didn't need another plow truck, it would be even cheaper than the 28, because we wouldn't need an F250 4x4, because if we weren't using it for plowing, it would be even a less expensive truck.
The thing about our trucks, as you can see, we put them into our service, and they're there for at least through historically, we've got our trucks for about 16, 17 years. So if we put a truck into our fleet, we're likely not going to replace that for well over a decade. If we put a 4x2 into our fleet, if we save a couple $1,000s on a 4x2 vehicle, a non 4x4, we're basically saying we won't plow with that for the next decade or more. And so again, trying to establish a long-term plan with our fleet efficiency and plowing ability to actually save money in the long run by bringing in Bolingbrook High School. We're trying to set the stage today for what will likely happen in a year or two.
So in sort of going in line with what Vice President Gugis is saying, is it a possibility to where we could have the one plow or the one truck with the plow, and then buy the 4x4 without the plow, and then possibly purchase a plow at a later date if and when we decide to take Bolingbrook in-house, to where we could save that $4,000 or $5,000? Is that a possibility?
Yeah, we could certainly buy one truck with the plow, one without, and then outfit that second truck at a later date with the plow kit.
My concern is I'm nervous about us purchasing a vehicle for something we're going to do, but things change. So the next year we don't take Bolingbrook in-house for whatever reason. The contractor comes back and says, "Oh, I'm going to lose your business. Here, I'll drop the price $20,000," or whatever the case may be. But then we have a truck that was meant for plowing that we don't have. I guess my concern is, why wouldn't we just buy it? Is it that hard to come by? Why wouldn't we just buy it when we know we need it?
Are you referring to the plow or the truck?
The plow.
The plow, yeah. Like I just said, we could push off the purchase of one of the plows until that point at which we're going to go ahead and take on Bolingbrook High School. If we did buy the plow now, we would put it into service this year. We wouldn't store it and not use it until we do Bolingbrook High School. We would just make our fleet that much more efficient with it, with one more plow truck and one more body to plow, so to speak. our district.
I just think in the financial state we're at, I think every dollar we spend needs to be heavily scrutinized by this board and know that, yeah, we think this is something we have to do. I'm not convinced that we have to buy 2 plow trucks right now. I agree. I think they take great, if you have a vehicle from 1997, you had to take great care of it for it to still be running. But it's not necessarily about like, hey, this can make us more efficient. I believe everything you're saying, Mr. Lopez. I just wonder if, given our limited resources, if this is the best expenditure of our limited resources at the moment.
And I would also say that the truck itself, and when we say it's a plow truck, it's a 4x4 truck, but it's also a 3/4 ton pickup truck, which allows us to carry payloads of that nature. So I think our standard is 3/4 ton trucks. So the one that we are replacing is a 1/2 ton truck, which is really I believe the only one in our fleet that's a 1/2 ton, and that doesn't allow us to carry the payloads that we have in the district.
Any other questions? Further discussion? Thank you. We have a motion, we have a second. Need a roll call vote, please.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Sikora?
No.
Member Felice?
Yes.
Secretary Hansen?
Yes.
Vice President Gugis?
No.
President Quigley?
No. Motion doesn't pass. We'll revisit that issue on the number of trucks to buy at a later date. Moving down the agenda, superintendents, where are we at? Oh, I'm sorry. Ms. Hawks, consolidation report.
Thank you, President Quigley. Action Report 13.1 this evening, Consolidated Action Report. We're seeking your approval on 10 items for certified personnel, 28 for classified personnel, and 1 for administrative classified personnel.
Motion to approve?
So move.
Second?
Second.
Motion and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. Roll call vote, please.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Sikora?
Yes.
Member Felice?
Yes.
Secretary Hansen?
Yes.
Vice President Gugis?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes. Next, information reports.
Yes, in your packet, you've got a treasury report, an investment report as prepared by our treasurer and director of accounting, Joanne Borg. She gives you the breakdown of our investment types and duration by category, totaling $115 million, along with the yields and benchmark yields to give you a fair comparison, along with the percentage of each in the portfolio. Just a couple of very quick comments in that the benchmark yields are before broker fees ranging anywhere from 10 to 15 basis points, which is what we pay on our investment purchases. There's also a notation there about our purchase of tax anticipation warrants of 2 Illinois school districts through private placement and the yields that they came in at, and you can see that the yields are indeed higher than anything we can receive on the standard market. I think the biggest takeaway here is the chart on page 2, giving you an idea of what our interest earned on all funds for each fiscal year going back as far as 2007. In that year, in 2007, the district, on $183 million of investments in cash, generated $8.8 million in interest earnings, or 4.7% as an interest as a percentage of revenue. Our yield in that year was 4.9%, which again was the going rate for investments in 2007. Flash forward to 2013, the interest earned on all funds for the last fiscal year completed, $248,000. And so again, we went from $8.8 million to $248,000 in 7 years rather. Interest as a percentage of revenue, 0.11%, down from 4.7 again in 7 years. And the investment yield, 28 basis points versus 493 basis points. So again, the interest market obviously has, our investment market has changed dramatically along with the economy. We continue to make sure we follow our investment policy to pursue security over liquidity and liquidity over chasing a rate. It's more important to us that we don't lose any of our taxpayer money versus trying to invest maybe in higher yields, but a little more risky situations.
Is this a motion? Or is this
No, it's just informational.
A question on the municipal securities. Have we had any mature yet, or is this our first round?
Have we had a semi-annual maturity?
Okay, and that's working out for us? All right. Okay. So for the public, I will describe this in layman's terms. Assistant Superintendent Grazafi, please correct me. Treasurer Bird, please correct me if I get something wrong. But basically, school districts generally get most of their money in 2 payments. That's in, you said it earlier, April and
Typically June and September.
June and September. School districts, some school districts near us, run out of money often in the spring. And they have to borrow money to cover them until they get to June. You can think of it like a payday loan. I like to think of it like a payday loan. Their payday's off. They spent more money than they had. They have to borrow some. They typically have to borrow that money at higher rates than school districts would like to borrow money at, and higher rates than our other investments. Currently, in the last couple of years, we looked into, there was a high school district that was loaning money to an elementary district nearby. We saw that, and we saw that as an investment opportunity that would be safe. School districts are going to get the money, they just don't have the money at the time. So we've started to use that as an investment vehicle, and that has rates, it looks like 3 times what our other things are doing. Now, given 3 times, it's 1%, so don't get really excited. But it's 3 times what our other investments are doing. When we talk about money and where we're at with money, what we're trying to avoid is being like those other school districts, where we run out of money in March and have to borrow from some other school district or some other entity. So we're taking advantage of some misfortune currently by some other school districts, but trying really hard to avoid ourselves from being in that very situation. And to be honest, where we're at now, we're not that far from it. So, you know, when you see this, we're taking advantage of it now, but if we don't keep a close eye on the funds that we have, we could find ourselves in that exact same position.
I think the other thing to note is that we are limited by where we can invest our money. Just because you might have some personal stocks that you can move around and make 10 or 15% in a very high performing market, this particular, especially this last quarter or half a year, that's not necessarily the case with what we are allowed to invest in. So that's just the way it is. Next, summer learning.
Thank you, President Quigley. Information report 14.2 is presenting a program review of a summer learning experience for grades K through 5 that was held during summer of 2013. This is the second year that this program was held, and we did a thorough review of the program this year and are looking forward to planning for this upcoming summer. I'd like to invite Kelly Gilbert, our Director of Data and Assessment, and Elizabeth Martinez, Executive Director of Pre-K 5, to the podium to share some information with about this program with you. Our primary goal with this program is to provide an engaging experience for our youngest learners that continues into the summertime, that can help them to sustain or enhance their gains, their instructional gains that they made the previous year during the instructional year. And we did meet our goal of providing this opportunity for our students. The majority of our students did show that it had a positive impact on their learning. So I'd like to invite Kelly to share some information about that, and then we'll briefly share information about next steps, which we will be bringing to you at a later date for the program for this summer.
Good evening and thank you. I would like to review with you how we chose to evaluate our program in a very similar manner to what we had done last year, and we have enhanced this evaluation even further this year. We chose to look at our data from last spring to this fall with respect to looking at the impact of summer learning experience on summer learning loss. We also considered fall-to-fall gains for our students between last fall to this fall, again using the MAP, the Measures of Academic Progress Assessment. We're also looking at students enrolled in the program to students who are not enrolled in the program, and through our program evaluation did remove our extreme high and low scores from both groups to make sure that we had a thorough analysis of our program. When we look at summer learning loss, the concept of loss is real and vital to helping us understand our learning process. Limiting or reducing summer learning loss was one of our goals of the program. Research tells us that students can lose the equivalent of 1 to 3 months of academic knowledge over the summer, and greater loss is usually seen in math than in reading. Additionally, we're looking at fall-to-fall gain. The concept of fall-to-fall gain is essential to understanding the retention of how students are learning and retaining that information, that effectiveness of instruction that they've received, so that they're able to recall that over a length of time. It may also be reflective of a student growing 1 year as a result of that 1 year of instruction. Additionally, we've included additional research from the National Summer Learning Association, has identified many elements that are keys to a successful summer learning experience. The elements we chose within our research were to look at making learning fun, that we're not focused just on test prep. We are blending academic and enrichment activities, and we're providing those engaging hands-on learning experiences. Also, that our program is inclusive. It's offered to all students, not just those who are struggling academically. It was research-based. It's aligned to our district curriculum and uses a full-day model, and we utilize experienced teachers. So taking all that into account, we want to now look at our results. Overall, what we saw on average was that students who participated in summer learning experience this past summer demonstrated less learning loss and greater fall-to-fall RIT gains. RIT is the measure as based on the measures of academic progress that a student, that's what their score is originated around. And so when we look at that less summer learning loss and greater fall-to-fall gains, that is in comparison to their peers who did not participate in the summer learning experience. This also held true regardless of what session the students attended, whether it was session 1, session 2, or both. Additionally, students who participated in the summer learning experience last summer received an advantage over those that did not in both reading and math, and this advantage was larger than the advantage seen the previous summer during the summer learning experience of 2012. Here are some numbers to help us quantify that information we just showed. In green, you will see the summer learning experience. About 318 students were utilized in this study. Compared to over 5,000 students at the elementary level, students not participating in the summer learning experience. You will see overall that student scores that they experience less summer learning loss in both math and reading as compared to the non-summer learning experience students. And that, again, we saw the greater fall-to-fall gain in both reading and math. The chart demonstrates for you on the average RIT loss or fall-to-fall RIT gain. That is seen in green, again, are the students who participated, and in red are the students who did not. Also, through a thorough program evaluation, it's also important to consider a random sample. So when you look at like groups of students, again, comparing our 318 students in the summer learning experience to 318 other similar non-summer learning experience students, the trends maintain themselves, wherein the summer learning experience students had less summer learning loss and greater fall-to-fall gains in both reading and math. Additionally, when we look at our comparison of students within the summer learning experience from summer of 2012 to summer of 2013, we note that in both reading and math, the experience is favorable within that students, again, had an average of about 1.25 RIT advantage over their peers for those participating in the program, and a 0.74 RIT advantage over their peers within the area of reading. One area for improvement, though, is the area of reading, as we can continue to look at that a little closer with the experience that our students are receiving and the instruction that our teachers are providing to our students in the summer learning experience. In addition to our MAP data comparison, which was the basis of this academic data shared with you, we also looked at our enrollment information. But before we get to that, I have to share with you just a summary of our results. And again, as we've stated, for the majority of students, the results were better for those who participated in summer learning experience than those who did not in both reading and math as compared to their peers. Elizabeth Martinez is going to share with you some additional information regarding enrollment and some next steps for our summer learning experience.
Thank you, Dr. Gilbert.
Okay. The next slide that we will be sharing with you, we also will be talking about the locations that the schools that we've used for this. So in 2013, summer learning experience, the enrollment was at the schools listed to the left. The total enrollment is for 2012, and then you can see the total enrollment for 2013. I'm sure that you see that we did see a reduction of enrollment, and that will be an area of focus for this year. But we were very pleased with the academic gains of all of our students. The next slide shares with us the participants. We have the grade level, and so we have 2012 in-district students as well as out-of-district students, and then the 2013 in-district students and then out-of-district students. We're very pleased that we've had quite a few out-of-district students that have been interested in our program, and have a very large percentage of students have been there, so we're pleased to see that.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
Why do you think our enrollment dropped?
Well, I think that probably the main reason would be we didn't provide transportation. And so that was something that some of our students were not able to accommodate getting to the location. I think that is the greatest reason.
How many kids did we transport the year prior?
Oh, I don't know that off the
I
top.
don't have that information, but I could find it for you.
I believe it was really tiny. 4 or 5? 45 kids.
45 students.
I would offer a suggestion.
Sure.
When we started summer learning, we went at a price point. We surveyed, I was on the committee, I surveyed some of local competition. And this is kind of outside what you guys normally do. But we surveyed local competition, and you should be congratulated for your results, number one. But we surveyed local competition, we came in at this price point at $99. And the price point was key because we were the lowest of all the competitors that we went after. This year we had a price increase, correct?
$10.
Right. So and then we have also, if you looked at our competitors, most of our competitors dropped their prices. So we went from being the lowest to one of the higher ones.
Good point.
And that's something I think the program seems to be successful academically, but we're going to also have to look at the marketing side of that.
Absolutely.
Because I believe the program, correct me if I'm wrong, operated at a surplus this year?
Yes.
It did at a slight surplus. In the past, we had a startup cost to purchase materials, so that was factored in, but we were at an investment. I don't want to say a loss, but the district did end up paying approximately $70,000 in 2012. This year, there was approximately a $7,000 overage in terms of revenue versus expense.
We broke even.
Yeah, pretty much.
And we
It
have
was
a tiered.
neutral
We have a
program.
tiered pricing, right? The out of district pay more.
Out of district does pay slightly more, and in 2012 that was not the case. And I don't know that it, really impacted our out of district
we had
fee.
more out of it.
Yeah.
So this is the thing on that marketing side I'm talking about. Like,
Sure.
we may have room to play with creating even a larger separation without a district, because for some reason there's not the need for them. There's the need for them to come to us.
Right.
We may have room to play with that, but we may have to look at our cost, because if you ask me, I think that's probably our biggest driver on why and because what I remember last time too on the first session is, if correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the survey results were even higher in terms of parent satisfaction last year than they were this year. So I think those are some. I mean, we look at. I think one of the schools was Jamie McGee, right?
Mm-hmm.
We lost like 143 kids out of Jamie McGee. So I just think those are some areas for us to kind of to look at. If we've got this program working academically, we just need to get kids' bodies in there. And price is probably one of the main drivers on that.
Thank you for your comments, Member Gugis. To answer your question about parent satisfaction, it was close, but you are correct in saying that last year was higher. The overall satisfaction was 90% last year. This year it was reported at 86%, but we did have a small response rate on that survey, so that's an area that we're looking to improve on as well, so that we can get some additional feedback.
I think also to latch onto that from a marketing standpoint, publicizing these parent survey results and their comments and so forth, that should be plastered all over everything, because that helps to offset some of the cost, but ultimately cost is a driver, especially in today's times. But seeing what, you know, both academically and socially, I know that's important to some parents, so.
We'll definitely take note of that. I think those are great suggestions. Thank you. Well, this slide shares with us the breakdown of each of the schools, and you can see how many students we have in each grade level and our out-of-district participant. The goals for 2013, we had 4 goals. The first one was to identify and secure supports for students in all tiers and will have a greater impact on their achievement outcomes. The second goal was to secure funding resources to support enrollment of our free and reduced lunch students. And the third one is to maintain the least restrictive environment for all students. And our fourth goal, as we just discussed, is the one area that we did not reach that goal, but definitely will be an area of focus for us, and we'll take those suggestions into consideration. And I agree, the marketing will be very important this year. Other measures of success, the parent survey that we just made reference to, 54% of our parents believe the program was engaging. 61% of our parents believed it benefited their child academically. 64 believed that their child benefited socially, and 86% were satisfied or very satisfied with summer learning experience. But one of the areas that we wanted to make note of is that the value that is immeasurable is that our students really loved coming to summer learning experience. They were motivated, engaged, and very passionate about learning. The curiosity and wonder and a great deal of joy and happiness within the day's activities. So we were very pleased to see that the students were very happy to be there, and we think it was a quality time for our students.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that one of the things summer learning lets us do is we can get away from like some state requirements, and there's a lot more, I wouldn't say a lot more, but there's a different emphasis on subjects that sometimes don't get the same level of attention.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's a lot more in science, science labs, and in drama. Some of the subjects that sometimes don't get the focus we like are able to get that focus in summer learning. And speaking to the marketing piece, that may be more additional information to make sure that parents understand.
Absolutely.
Did you have a percentage on what parents re-enrolled their students for the second year? How many came back from one year to the next?
We do, and there was an effort by the team, and I see Mr. Paskevich in the audience, and he was key in those efforts to contact those families that did not re-enroll and ask them, why? Was it, just a change of plans, or was it? And so we did try to gather that information. I don't have the number off the top of my head, but we did see a lot of students not re-enroll, but then we did have some repeaters. I don't have an exact percentage for you. Mr. Paskevich, if you can think of something off the top of your head, do you know? Okay.
I just think that's probably a good point to look at because of why didn't they come back, or why did they come back? And some of them may not have come back because they were the 5th grade moving on. There's a percentage there, but I think the success of the school of the summer learning too would be getting the families to do this every single year through all their kids, and I think that's another good point to really drive home.
We'll have a very comprehensive communication as well as marketing plan, and we'll definitely take those points into consideration and make sure that we address that and touch base with our previous parents and try to get them enrolled as well.
Assistant Superintendent, if possible, once you get that percentage of non-returnees versus returnees, if you could share that with us, I'd like to see that.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
The other thing is, why do you think 5th graders are not coming? That's like glaring. Do you think it's because they're old enough and parents are okay with leaving them at home alone where they aren't?
That could be a factor.
Okay.
That could be a factor.
Could you come up to the podium, please?
Yeah, if we're going to have this conversation.
This is Elizabeth Hornbeck coming up to the podium, and she was a principal in our SLE program, and she is a teacher at Beverly Scoff.
Yes. The first year we had the program, we did not gear it towards the 5th graders. We geared it towards students who were entering 5th grade. We did not have the materials available for students going into 6th grade. That would be something that we could definitely work on because many of the materials are cross grade level, so it's definitely something we could work on. As well as the returning parents with these changes in location, as a mom, it would make it hard. This year we're going to Beverly Scoff. Next year we're going to have to go somewhere else. So I understand the moving of location was different. I'm sure you agree as you had kids there. So we have to look at that and find the best advantage for our kids.
Thank you, Mrs. Hornbeck.
But to that point, thank you for what you do, and we have several teachers that work in the roles of principals at these schools, plus the teachers that work in the schools. They do a fantastic job, and I'm forgetting the gentleman's name. Who ran the summer learning at Hermanson?
Mrs. Hornbeck ran it with Mr. Mitchum from Pioneer, and Mr. Paskiewicz. Well,
Mr.
James
Quinn.
Quinn. I'm
I
sorry,
can
I thought
remember
they meant
Mr.
the
Quinn in
directors.
particular. They didn't have bottled water one day, and next thing you know, I live next door to Hermanson. There's Mr. Quinn pulling water out of his back seat. Just their dedication over the summer. I know they were really dedicated, and he did a great job. He was outside greeting kids every day. I'm sure you did the same thing. But it was really a great job by the staff involved in that.
It is a great opportunity for leadership development. So we are very happy we have that opportunity for our teachers to participate. So our goals for 2014 are very similar. We're going to sustain or enhance the fall-to-fall growth and or minimize or remove summer learning loss for all students. We'll increase enrollment for all students K through 5, identify and secure academic supports for all students, provide a more strategically delivery of curriculum based on student needs, really using the data. We did do that previously, but we get better all the time looking at data and being responsive to it. Secure funding resources to support enrollment fees for free and reduced lunch students, and maintain the least restrictive environment for all students. So we, of course, look forward to your recommendations and next steps, and we would be happy to answer any questions or have any comments.
Mrs. Martinez did hold a debrief with several of the leaders that were in place for the program previously, and we've gotten feedback from teachers as well, and those are all things that we'll take into account, as well as your feedback prior to bringing back our proposal for this summer of 2014. So we look forward to refining and making it even better. We have a great foundation in place, and we see some positive impact for our students, and we'd like to continue to improve upon that.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
I think the questions have been answered. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next, Mr. Alperin, Legal Services Report.
No report other than it would be very interesting to see what happens with the pension reform legislation that just got passed, as you had alluded to.
Thank you. It'll be interesting from a legal standpoint for you, maybe not for the rest of us. AFT report. Thank you. Valley View Council report. Thank you. Valley View Office Personnel Council report. Thank you. Any old business before the board? Any new business before the board?
President, quickly, we talked about the training or evaluation for the school board that someone's going to be speaking to our person from the Illinois Association of School Boards. Are we waiting until after the first of the year to have the conversation with that person?
Jim, were you going to reach out to him and have him give us some dates, or them?
I
Get some
can.
dates?
I
Yeah,
had
I
not
thought that's where we
anticipated that
left
I
it.
would, but I can.
Yeah, get some dates after the first of the year.
Member Kendall, you know him, correct?
Yes, I know Jim.
Not Jim.
Oh, he's talking about Jeff Cohen, our rep.
Jeff.
Yes.
Yes.
Can you reach out to him?
Absolutely.
That'd be great.
Okay.
So, am I reaching out, or is Member Campbell reaching out, or both?
Send a dual email.
We
And
both
ask for
re-
some
we
dates
both
in-
can reach out, Member Campbell.
sometime in January. Preferably after 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
p.m.
Or
For
weekend,
everybody? Okay.
Or weekend or something. We did it on the weekend.
We did on a weekend before.
Was it on a weekend?
Yes.
Yeah, it was on a
Okay, well,
Saturday.
on a
It
weekend
was-
then. That-
Yes.
that
It was right
changes things,
here.
yeah.
It was long.
Okay.
That's what you get paid for.
You're right.
Next, any questions from the public on actions we have taken this evening?
For the record, we get paid $0.
Yes. Oh, I was definitely being sarcastic.
I saw some people in the audience.
Oh,
going, "Do
really
they get
thought,
paid?"
yes. No.
Suzanne Hurdle from Romeoville. I just want to thank the board for your vote on the calendar and for listening to the survey results. I was listening, but I was multitasking. I was looking up a few things online and wanted to suggest that maybe the committee could do a survey regarding the religious holidays. I saw that another school district has done that, and it might be helpful. I know next year probably won't work because I know that spring break is kind of tied into that Good Friday thing, but I really do think it's worth offering that. And I thank you for the surveys and for trying to get input. I'm sorry that more parents don't participate, but rest assured, there are some of us that will always participate, I promise you. Sometimes you might not like that, but we do it anyway, so thank you.
Thank you.
Next, any announcements by the board? Only the same announcement I've made the last two meetings. Lions Club of Bolingbrook is hosting a event tonight at Tailgaters to raise money for the victims of the tornado. I am going to make an expeditious chase to there as soon as we're done with this meeting this evening. I think it's a great cause. I had an email I received today from the city administrator of Coal City, and he is very optimistic of the recovery they're making, but they are still in the cleanup mode in many areas and neighborhoods. A lot of people are hurting down there, and every little bit, particularly this time of the year, will certainly help anybody down there in those houses. Just because you have insurance and so on and so forth does not cover your out-of-pocket expenses oftentimes for these people. And they're not; those are not super wealthy communities, Diamond and Coal City. Not to say that they don't have some high-end subdivisions and so on and so forth, but they also have some lesser valued homes, shall we say, and people, like everybody, live in paycheck to paycheck, so any little bit can help, and I'm going to make my my exit to there as soon as this is over, and hope we can help those folks.
I've got two announcements, well, three actually, but the first one is 5 minutes to go in the second quarter. The Bears are winning 14-7, but the Cowboys are on the 10. So, and I'm the Bears 10, so it's going to change shortly. Secondly, I want to remind everybody about a competition this Sunday at Bolingbrook High School. It's a cheer competition that Bolingbrook High School, as well as I believe Romeoville High School and Brooks Middle School and several other high schools and middle schools from the community will be participating in the ICCA Cheer Invitational this Sunday. So come out and support it. Come out and support the student athletes that participate there. And lastly, to all of the faculty, staff, administration, but most importantly the families of VVSD, wish them all a very happy and safe holiday season. So thank you.
Any other announcements?
Yes, I just always think of past President Rakowski, and he said, I'm going to say this. Anyway, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
I want to take a second to thank a local business, Fat Ricky's, for all they do for our school district and our students. They also, Romeoville puts on a Christmas program, and they feed just tons of families. So I just really want to thank Fat Ricky's and the proprietors, Aaron and Rick DePago. They're great people, do great things for our community, live right here in Romeoville. So just thank you to them.
Shop local. Any other announcements by the board? Any announcements by the administration? Any announcements? Any announcements by the public? Seeing none. Motion to adjourn would be in order.
So moved.
Motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. And Chairman wishes to wish everyone to have Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, Happy Hanukkah, Eid Barak, Yashna Wali, and Kwanzaa.